All right, ladies and gentlemen, something interesting is happening in crypto right now in the markets. Because over the last few days, we've seen Bitcoin leading another rally across the entire crypto sector. Momentum is slowly coming back into the markets and volatility is returning. And when you start seeing moves like this in Bitcoin, it usually means something bigger is happening beneath the surface. Now, this rally didn't just appear out of nowhere. There are actually several macro factors driving what we're seeing right now. And once you understand them, the entire market move starts to make a lot more sense. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down why Bitcoin has suddenly started moving again, the macro and geopolitical factors influencing the markets right now, what this means for altcoins like Ethereum and XRP, and what traders should be watching next. Because right now, the crypto market is reacting to something much bigger than just the charts. So let's get into it.
I am not a financial advisor. This video is based solely on my opinion and what I'm personally doing in this market. I also want to let you know that some of the links below and in the descriptions are affiliate links, meaning I may get a commission, but it will be at no extra cost to you. Please remember that under no circumstances will I ever contact you and ask you for investments. You can confirm all of my real social media handles in the description and also at milkshakematty.com. This content is for educational and entertainment only, and I'm not a financial advisor.
Let's start with Bitcoin itself, because over the past few days, we've seen Bitcoin recover strongly after a recent dip in the market. At one point during the recent volatility, Bitcoin had fallen all the way back down to 65,000 US dollars. At one point during the recent volatility, Bitcoin had fallen back all the way down around the $65,000 level. That drop came during the period where global markets were showing signs of uncertainty and risk assets across the board pulled back. But then something interesting happened. The sentiment started to shift. Investors began moving back into risk assets and Bitcoin responded quickly. Within a short period of time, the markets pushed back above 70,000 US dollars, restoring confidence across the entire crypto sector. At one stage, Bitcoin even surged past that $74,000 mark, and that was marking a move of more than 5% in a single trading session. Now, in crypto, a 5% move might not sound dramatic, but for an asset the size of Bitcoin, that's actually significant shift in momentum. Because when Bitcoin starts moving like that, it often pulls the rest of the market with it. And that's exactly what we've been seeing. As Bitcoin pushed higher, all the major cryptocurrencies have followed. Ethereum moved up around 3% during the same period, and that showed renewed strength. And XRP also joined the party, gaining roughly around 3% as the investors started moving back into the broader crypto market. Now, this pattern is something we've seen many times before. Bitcoin leads, then confidence returns, and then capital starts rotating into the altcoins. Which is why when Bitcoin starts showing strength, traders across the world begin paying very close attention. Because historically, that's often when the next phase of the market begins. Now, the question is this: why did this rally even happen? What caused the shift in the sentiment? And interestingly, the answer isn't just crypto, it's actually global macro events. Because recently, markets have been reacting to developments surrounding tensions involving the United States of America and Iran. At one stage, investors were worried that the situation could escalate into something much larger. And whenever global tensions rise like that, investors tend to move away from risk assets. And that includes stocks, tech companies, and of course, crypto. But then the tone coming from political leadership began to change. Comments from the US President Donald Trump suggest that the situation could be nearing a resolution. And when markets sense that geopolitical tensions may be cooling down, risk appetite begins to return. Investors move back into the markets and confidence starts rebuilding. And that's exactly what we saw. Once the geopolitical tone softened, traditional markets began responding. The S&P 500 rose roughly 0.8%, signaling a return of risk appetite across the global markets. Now, when traditional markets shift back into risk mode, crypto often reacts faster. Because Bitcoin is still seen as one of the highest volatility assets in the financial system, which means when sentiment improves, crypto tends to move first. And that's why we saw Bitcoin jump so quickly back above 74 grand. And even as I'm recording this, we're still well above 70,000 US dollars. But geopolitics isn't the only thing influencing the markets right now. There's another huge factor that traders are watching very closely, and that's interest rates. Donald Trump is also publicly calling for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates immediately. Now, regardless of where you stand politically, that statement matters for the markets because lower interest rates generally make the risk assets more attractive. When borrowing becomes cheaper, capital tends to flow into assets with higher growth potential. Stocks benefit, Tech companies will benefit, and crypto usually benefits the most, which means traders right now are watching Federal Reserve signals incredibly closely. Because if the market starts believing rate cuts are coming, crypto could see another major wave of momentum. And we're already starting to see that shift happening. Bitcoin has already recently pushed towards that 72,000 to 74,500 range, and it's continuing the recovery from that recent dip. Now, that doesn't mean the markets is suddenly risk-free. Crypto is still volatile. And earlier this year, Bitcoin actually fell significantly from levels above 90 grand, and reminding everybody just how quickly sentiment can change. But what we are seeing right now is something very important: momentum and confidence starting to return, and traders beginning to watch the markets very closely again. Because when Bitcoin begins to move, opportunities start appearing everywhere. Now, this brings me to something very important, because one of the hardest parts of trading crypto is not actually understanding the charts. It's not understanding macro events, and it's not even learning trading strategies. The hardest part for many people is doing it alone, staring at the charts late at night, trying to interpret market moves and wondering if you're missing something. And if you've ever traded crypto before, you'll know exactly what I mean. Because this space moves incredibly fast. Information spreads quickly. Opportunities appear suddenly. And if you're trying to figure everything out by yourself, you may start to feel overwhelmed, which is exactly why we built something different. Something designed to bring traders together. Something designed to make the journey easier and a lot more fun. Inside our community, we run something called the Crypto Wolfpack. It's a place where traders come together, share ideas, analyze charts, watch the markets together, and help each other improve. We've got beginners learning their first chart patterns, and we've got experienced traders sharing strategies. And we've got a community that genuinely enjoys being part of the journey together. Now, recently, we decided to take things a little step further because we wanted to build something even bigger for the community. So we've launched a brand new live stream schedule inside the Wolfpack. And this is something I'm genuinely excited about, because now there is something happening every single day of the week. 7 nights a week, 7 different streams, 7 different ways to learn. Let me show you what that looks like. We kick things off on a Monday night with Phil's scalp finding sessions. Now, Phil has an incredible ability to spot short-term trading opportunities. During these sessions, he breaks down charts live, shows exactly what he's looking for, and explains how scalp setups appear in real time. For anybody wanting to improve their technical analysis, these sessions are fantastic. And yes, as he finds these trades live, you can do it with him on your own trading account to make some money. On Tuesday night, Dean is going to be running an XRP and crypto news night. This is where we break down the biggest developments happening across the crypto world: regulation, institutional adoption, and major announcements. And of course, anything that's happening in the XRP ecosystem. Understanding the news is incredibly important because markets often move on information. Then on Wednesday, we actually run 2 sessions at 7:30 p.m. Stu is going to be hosting a lift-off course beginner session. This is designed specifically for people who are new to crypto trading. We will walk through the fundamentals, explain charts, and help people build confidence. Then at 8:30 p.m, we will be going live inside the Crypto Wolfpack community for a second stream. Similar type of vibe for beginners to be able to ask questions that are in the Wolfpack as well. And on Thursday night, myself and Paula Talks Crypto will be running the Matt and Paula podcast chat. These sessions are relaxed conversations about markets, trading psychology, and the bigger picture of crypto. Sometimes we discuss news, sometimes we discuss strategies, but they always lead to great conversations. Then we arrive at Friday, and inside the Wolfpack, we call this Feral Friday. This is where the entire community will come together. Charts are flying, ideas are being shared, and the energy is incredible. And for me, Fridays are one of the most fun streams of the week. Some people have a beer on stream, some people will have some snacks, but what's important is we come together and we're going to be talking about crypto. And sometimes things that aren't crypto, just to spice it up. On Saturday, Phil returns for another scalp finding session. We're diving deeper into the week's trading opportunities. And remember, you've also got the opportunity, as he opens the trade, to do exactly the same thing at the same time. And then finally on Sunday, we'll be wrapping up the week with a quiz night with myself and Stu Stocks. This is where the community will get involved. We're going to run quizzes, we're going to give prizes away, and just enjoy the journey together. And when you look at the schedule, you'll probably be realizing something. Crypto trading becomes far more powerful when you're not doing it alone. Because instead of sitting there staring at charts by yourself, You're surrounded by people who are learning, analysing, and improving together. You're going to be part of the pack, and the journey becomes far more enjoyable when you're doing it together. So if you've been watching this channel and you've been learning about crypto and you'd like to be part of the community just like this, then you can join us. Just head down to the link in the description below, or you can head over to cryptowolfpack.co.uk, where you can get there simply by selecting the Crypto Wolfpack community. Come meet the traders, come watch the streams, come learn with the pack together. Because trust me when I say this, crypto becomes a lot more powerful when you stop trading alone and start running with the pack. Now, before you go, if you enjoyed this video and found it useful, make sure you hit that like button because it really helps the channel grow. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next crypto breakdown. And just a quick reminder, every Friday at 7 p.m, we release a brand new episode of the UK Crypto Podcast. On the podcast, myself and Paula Talks Crypto go much deeper into the crypto space, talking about the markets, the industry, the psychology of trading, and the stories behind the people building this space. So if you enjoyed these videos, you're definitely going to enjoy the podcast as well. I'm going to link the UK Crypto Podcast playlist right at the end of this video. So when this one finishes, you can jump straight into the next episode of the podcast. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. And remember this, the strength of the wolf is in the pack.